a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope. And like I said, I think it takes emotional maturity. I think it takes having even more honest conversation than you probably were having for the past year.
I guarantee you. So today we're talking about open relationships. Guest here, introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, I'm Jasmine Neicole. That's what I go by. I'm a creator of all things beautiful.
Awesome.
So we can keep it there.
Appreciate you being here today. So when it comes to open relationships, one of the first questions I want to ask is, have you ever been in an open relationship? Is it something that you consider? Because everybody has different thoughts on it. I don't know that everybody really expresses them, though. So, what's the case for you?
So I've thought about open relationships, never actually been in one. Just because when I actually educated myself on all the different layers of what that looks like, I realized that wasn't really a thing for me.
Okay. When it comes to those things that you looked at, you say you looked at a few different things. What was it that kind of stood out to you that you were like, I don't really like? Like, what did you consider when it comes to it? So I think a lot of people think about open relationships in terms of like the fun aspect of it, because you can pretty much do what you want, right? At least that's what they think.
Yeah.
And that it's kind of like a have your cake and eat it too type thing. You can be with the person you really like, but at the same time, if somebody hits on you at the bar or whatever, you can take them home. What would you say is the thing that you consider that kind of turned you off about it?
So I would say, like, when I was younger, and right when we're younger, we don't have as many responsibilities.
Hopefully not.
And I think responsibilities look different, like when you're in your early 20s, than versus just when you get closer to your 30s and things like that. But for me, there's that fun aspect. And I think that's what a lot of people talk about, especially in my experience with just dating certain men. I feel like that would be the thing. Like, oh, we both could be free. And as I've aged in my dating life, I've learned you really can't get all of your needs from one partner.
Really?
I think so.
Really?
We can get into
So wouldn't that mean you'd be more into an open relationship?
You would think you would be more, but then you also, if I'm going to say it plain, open relationships, to me, it requires a different level of emotional maturity. A lot of people don't have that.
I would definitely agree. A lot of people, when they look at open relationships, they don't think about the fact that the level of trust you need to have in an open relationship is even greater than the level of trust you need to have in your standard relationship, because there's still parameters. There's still, okay, we can do this. Exactly. It's like, we can do this, but, if you're going to go out and do X, Y, and Z, this is what I need from you. And then, what do you need from me if I'm going to do that? And because you're stepping outside of the home in that sense, you're going to have to trust that person that much more, because you're allowing them to essentially go outside the fence. And then you got to trust that they're going to come back to you and not going to bring anything to you. Nothing, what I'm saying? No burning sensations.
No, for real.
Yeah, so I don't think a lot of people don't realize that. If you have trust issues with your standard relationship and a normal monogamous type situation, you're not going to be able to do an open relationship. And I think some people maybe suggest it and think that can solve their trust issues, because they're like, oh, if he or she wants to go out and cheat, that's cool. If they want to do that, maybe all we need to do to solve it is just have an open relationship. That way they can go out and it won't be cheating. But again, isn't the whole issue with cheating a trust thing? So if you couldn't trust them in the beginning, how can you trust that they're going to go out there and do whatever they do and they're going to stick to what you actually set forth as the agreement, the boundaries, the parameters? How can you trust that if you couldn't trust them to begin with?
Exactly. I agree with all of that. I do think sometimes it can be seen as like a go-to option, especially for couples who are having a hard time, whether it be with fidelity, whether it be with, our spark just isn't as fiery as it used to be. Maybe we should open things up, But it's a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope. And like I said, I think it takes emotional maturity. I think it takes having even more honest conversation than you probably were having for the past year.
I guarantee you.
It takes it to a whole nother level. And I think for me, what really turned me off from the idea of open relationships was I didn't want my relationship to be too contractual. And I feel like when you're opening up your relationships are already a contract in hindsight anyway, right? There's boundaries, there's things that we have to agree upon. We have a shared value system that we kind of abide by. You're supposed to. And in my mind, dating one person is already
a lot.
Okay?
Yeah, a lot.
Now you're talking about adding on multiple people. And it's like, I think in my mind, I always think, what if I have a partner who's like, oh yeah, we can have an open relationship, but I don't want you to date nobody that's like 45 plus. It's like, now I gotta grill every person I meet, or I don't want you dating a guy who's like over 5'8". You know, I don't want you
better than me or whatever.
Yeah, or that got locks. I don't want you dating him. Yeah. It's like, huh?
Yeah.
It literally,
then it's not even fun no more.
It's not fun no more.
Or it's not. It's like so. It's not. It doesn't really seem open. It's like an open closed relationship.
Stipulation.
And there's gonna be some stipulation.
It's gonna be some.
But yeah, if it's overdone, then it kind of. And the whole point with most open relationships, and that, I mean, everybody's gonna have something different to say. So I'm hoping they leave that in the comments. But my thought would be with an open relationship that one of the things that you kind of have in place is that, look, I mean, there's general expectations for what you're not supposed to do. So otherwise, do what you do. I don't want to find out about it, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that supposed to be one of the whole things that you can, don't keep it away from our friends or whatever the case may be, but aren't you not supposed to be knowing like all the details because that would make it uncomfortable?
Yeah.
At least that's what I thought.
Yeah, I would think so too. And I think, once again, going back to the emotional maturity, is a human able to really do that? Especially the human that you're with. Because I think also too, the idea sounds so appealing to have your cake and eat it too. I think a lot of people can have a tendency to just get really interested in the idea without fleshing it all out.
Yeah, and not actually looking at the realism of like the implementation of what they're looking to do.
Because once you
like
actually
this is what
10
your
toes
thought
deep
is.
in it now, now all these questions are coming up. Because like you said, at first it may just be like, hey, when we're having relations with other people, let's make sure we're protected. Now we're getting into a conversation of, oh, maybe I call you to come over for dinner. You telling me you can't come over because you out with Susie, huh?
And there's got to be a conversation about what the priorities are. It's like, hey, like whether it's got to be certain days or whatever. Y'all still got to, in order for y'all relationship to work, y'all gotta be good. And I think when a lot of people potentially enter into or consider this idea, it's not something you can consider if you're not good. It's not. I wouldn't advise that.
Absolutely.
It'd be better. I would think for you to, if you're in a committed relationship and you having issues with being faithful or whatever, and you're thinking of an open relationship or whatever reason you consider it, I say it'd be better for you to potentially maybe break up, but just say like, hey, you my favorite person or you my main one or whatever, but I don't want to have us. I don't want to put us in a spot where we could potentially ruin what we have. So understand, like, you won't be my main person, but we're still going to, date who we want to date, but we're not actually together. We just understand that we special to one another.
Exactly.
But I think a lot of people, they don't want to do that because they might already be living together, or they're just like, no, I can do this, but they're not being honest with themselves.
And that's what it really takes. It takes a very deep awareness of yourself and what you're willing to commit to and what type of lifestyle you're willing to live.
And I think most people don't have that. They don't think. I know most people don't have that.
You really do. Because you live this stuff every day.
Like, most people don't have that.
Right, exactly. I don't think so. And I had to ask myself, because there was one point in time, I was like, I could see myself dating multiple people. Like, that would actually be cool. But then it got to a point where I was like, if it's a Tuesday night and I want to see you tonight and you tell me you can, I don't know if I would like that.
Because then you, especially if you know, is it with somebody else?
Exactly.
You got to be able to handle that.
You got to be able to handle that. And I had to be
it.
honest with myself and be like, I don't think I like that.
Well, you can handle it if, when you just openly dating whatever. Like, that's cool. But if you're supposed to have some type of attachment or commitment to one person, it becomes it's challenging,
It's a dance you really have to figure out together.
And you can end up really biting off more than you can chew.
And to me too, I think what I've always thought of, you could potentially make things so much worse by even going into that type of
ruin everything that you had, and then not even want to. You just
now I don't even want to look at you. Now I don't want to be with you at all.
What would you say if someone was considering an open relationship? What would be your advice to them? If someone's it's going to be a twofold question. So for someone who's in a relationship already and they're considering converting that to open relationship, what would be your advice to them?
Ask yourself if you really are okay with your partner visualizing. Are you okay with your partner sleeping with another person, going on dates with another person, buying flowers for another person, they buy flowers for you? That's how I came up with my answer.
Now, on the flip side of that, for people who are single now, who are considering entering a relationship, but they want their relationship to be open, what would your advice be for them?
Make sure that the other person's on the same page, and make sure you're doing it. I think that's another thing, especially I can speak more for like I feel like females kind of, because I feel like men are usually the ones to bring up, not to gender type, because I'm not into stuff like that, but just based off my own experiences. I'm used to men bringing up or approaching or masculine presenting people, bringing up those type of ideas first. Really asking yourself, am I okay with this, or am I only doing it because my partner brought this up?
And it's for the single person, though. The single person going into it.
Well, yeah, okay, so a single person who wants to be in a relationship with somebody else.
Yeah, and they're thinking not to do monogamy. They want to actually, not monogamy, sorry. They're thinking to make it open, not have them just being
So maybe
exclusive.
more like a situationship? Is that what you was saying?
Yeah, I guess like you said, say you're single, I meet somebody, right, and I like the person, right, but I don't wanna actually commit to just them. I wanna all right, cool, I'll commit, but I want our relationship to be open. That's how I want to enter into it. What would be your advice to that single person who's looking to start a relationship with somebody where they're committing, but they're committing under the
bodies.
Exactly. They're committing, but they already initiating it in a way where it's going to be open.
I feel like for that person, you just gotta be really clear, because I think because we're all conditioned, right? When you hear the word relationship, you think exclusivity, commitment, monogamy. Automatically, we're conditioned.
By default.
We're all conditioned to think that
by
way.
default.
Unless you're a person who lives in a world
or a different country
or a different community where that is the norm. Here, that's not the norm.
So your advice would be to make sure that the communication is very clear and concise about what it is you want and how you want to live.
Like, I'm really feeling you. I would want to be in a relationship with you. Say we dating 3 weeks. Okay, cool. Then here we are, 4th week. Person is like, oh yeah, I really want to be with you. And you think we could just have an open relationship? I'm like,
they
whoa,
said that to you?
This is not. No, I'm saying hypothetically. I'm saying if that was to happen to me,
you already knew you wanted to do that from the beginning.
Yeah,
why didn't you tell me that?
I'm confused right now. Exactly. I think it's almost like if you got a baby, that's something you need to say day 1 or 2.
Yeah,
okay?
if I'm accepted, I'm accepted.
I'm a devout Muslim. Somebody said something like that. That's something somebody needs to know, because I need to know, like, are you expecting me to convert? Is that something that where you wouldn't be interested in dating me if that wasn't something I was okay with?
And there's no point in hiding it, because at the end of the day, you're gonna waste my time, your time. Just get it out the way in the beginning, and then I feel like that promotes the pattern of open expression, which is going to be healthy in any relationship, whether it's open, whether it's closed, whatever the case may be.
And there's people out there who love the idea of open relationships, but I think, like you said, I think it's good to just get it out. Just say it in the beginning. That way people can make their own decisions. Because especially somebody who's never thought about that idea. Say a single person is bringing that up to a person where they only know monogamy and never ever thought about having an open relationship.
You definitely got to explain more than just say open relationship.
You got to explain more, and it's like you telling somebody for the first time that Santa Claus ain't real. Like a child. It's like somebody like,
I always knew that. But I get what you said.
But you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, that's a lot for a person to digest, and you got to give somebody time to sit with that.
True. No.
That ain't no, let's have dinner tonight, I'm going to bring it up. And what you think about it? You think we're going to do it?
Yeah,
I need a couple of days. I need to think about my life.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
No, I definitely agree.
Yeah.